everyone is missing this right now for the New York Jets, as with all the conversations surrounding Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson's contract extensions, everyone has sort of stopped focusing on another key player for this Jets team. Meanwhile, Justin Fields has just proved to everybody that he is locked in for the New York Jets, and we are going to break all of it down. Matt's a clown. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here. Matt's not a clown. He's a great guy. We're going to jump right into things, as always, while Matt sips some water. Because, guys, 60% of you guys are not subscribed. You guys have been killing it with the subs recently. We are closing in on the big 6K for this channel. Guys, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this New York Jets content. We got videos every day. You do not want to miss out on anything. But let's jump into it. There's a lot to go over. Matt, as we know, Darren Mougey, GM of the New York Jets, is solely or mostly focused on right now when it comes to contract extensions, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. Not necessarily in that order. It's probably going to be Sauce first, but that's not the point. We already talked about that. The point is, with all this in mind, what everyone has been missing is there's another guy who the Jets do need to sign to an extension, who was brought in around a similar time to these two guys. Not the same year, but a similar time frame, and that is none other than key Jets starting guard, Alijah Vera-Tucker. And look, AVT, when he's been on the field for the Jets since his rookie year, has been great for this team. The Jets traded up to get AVT, and he's been nothing short of awesome. It's everything we could have hoped for when drafting him, and once we picked him up, he's been very good. The one concern about him is that he has dealt with some injury issues throughout his time with the Jets. He played a full season in 2021 at left guard, and then in 2022, he played 7 games. 2023, he played 5 games. In 2024, he played 15 games. So last season, we only saw him miss 2 games. He did bounce back after 2 injury-prone seasons, but he is someone who's on track for a contract extension, and there's been a lot of talks around this. Now, Nick Faria of Jet X Factor did mention that when healthy, Alijah Vera-Tucker has been one of the best guards in football since his draft selection in 2021. Last season, he received a Pro Football focus grade of 77.7, good for 11th best among guards to play at least 500 snaps. Vera-Tucker is a very good player. He's as talented in pass blocking as he is in the running game, and has anchored the Jets' offensive line for the last few years. As the 26-year-old enters his 5th and final season of his rookie deal, the Jets must determine what to do with him. Based on the current market for guards in free agency, Vera-Tucker knows that he will be getting a lucrative contract over the next year. The only question is if it will be with the Jets or with another team. And on top of that, the problem surrounding him is that he hasn't been consistently healthy. He's missed 24 games in the last 3 years or so. While the Jets would be smart to give him an extension that pays him as one of the best guards in the game, there is some concern that he won't be healthy enough to play during the entire length of that deal. Of course, good offensive linemen are hard to find nowadays, especially with a rising salary cap. Currently, 5 guards make an average of $20 million per year on their deals. Some of those players are among the elites of the game, like Kansas City Chiefs star Trey Smith or the Philadelphia Eagles' Landon Dickerson. Others, like Robert Hunt, are good players who received massive extensions during this offseason in 2025. Matt, AVT is a key member of this Jets team. Me and you are both very pro have an elite offensive line. The Jets finally finished their offensive line when drafting Armand Membo. It feels like obviously he's going to be due a lot of money, but to me it feels like a no-brainer that you re-sign AVT.
Chris, you're absolutely right. AVT, maybe he hasn't made it to a Pro Bowl or been voted to an All-Pro team, but we know he's a very good player. Not only is he a guard, he can play any position that we need him to play. He's moved all over our offensive line since we drafted him back in the first round of 2021, and he's been a great player for us outside of, like you said, those injuries. So now we know we want to re-sign him. We got to take a look at the top contracts and figure out where he fits in. So he is a right guard. So if we take a look at starting with the right guard, the highest paid right guards in football, the top 3 is going to be Trey Smith from the Chiefs, like you said, Chris Lindstrom from the Falcons, and then Robert Hunt from the Carolina Panthers. Now, Trey Smith is getting $23.5 million per year. It is important to note that that is a 1-year contract. So all the guards that are on like real multi-year, 4 to 5 year big time contracts, they're getting paid less than that. The other highest guys, Chris Lindstrom has a first team All-Pro, so AVT cannot ask for that amount of money. And Robert Hunt was overpaid a little bit by the Carolina Panthers because they are desperate to put an offense around their new quarterback, Bryce Young. He was struggling. They needed an offensive line for him. So we can expect AVT to command something a little bit lower than those guys. Just a reminder, that lowest guy, Robert Hunt, signed for $20 million per year. So we're expecting AVT to command something in the range of $17 million to $19.5 million. We have to remember, while the Jets aren't desperate to sign him, so maybe they won't be excited to give him $19 million, but there will be teams in the NFL who are desperate to find a offensive lineman just like Alijah Vera-Tucker and would be happy to fork over that money. So if we are not willing to fork over that money, that would open up AVT an opportunity to go seek other contracts in the rest of the NFL. If the New York Jets are not going to pay him, he's not going to be he's not resetting the market, but he is expecting to be one of the higher paid guards in football. Looking at the left guards, like you said, Landon Dickerson, $21 million a year is the number one guy. Quenton Nelson is the number two guy, but Quenton Nelson's getting $20 million a year, and we know what Quenton Nelson has done in the past and what he is. Any year can be the best offensive guard in football, which is not where AVT is. So if we are looking at the left guard market, it dictates that AVT should be about in that same range, just like I said before, $17 million to $19 million, and that's where we can expect AVT to sign a contract extension when he finally gets it done.
Yeah, I feel like with AVT, you aren't necessarily handcuffed into re-signing him, but you're in a situation that why wouldn't you? Like, I get it's going to be a lot of money, but also there's an offensive line that looks really, really good, and I understand if the Jets do ultimately decide to hold off a bit, but do you really want to risk losing him in free agency? Like, that's something that they do have to consider in regards to AVT and his future with the Jets. And it was mentioned by Farry that it's a safe bet to assume that if Vera-Tucker makes it to the open market next season, he will be another member of the $20 million a year club at guard. This is what makes his current contract situation so important for the Jets. The organization isn't necessarily wrong for wanting to see if the USC product can stay healthy for a full 17 games, but they are only increasing the amount of money they would need to give him in the future. If the team isn't careful, Vera-Tucker could play well out of his current price range. Seeing one of their best players walk the following year would defeat the purpose of building a young offensive line. So it's the same thing that we've been talking about. It's you just built this offensive line. Don't already let it crumble before it gets built.
$20 million per year, that's pretty expensive for what AVT has been in the past. Like I said, no Pro Bowls, and we talk about how nowadays Pro Bowls are a lot easier to come by than they've been in the past. That's because there are so many alternates, and every alternate counts as a Pro Bowl nod when it's all said and done. But one thing I forgot to mention about AVT is currently on his rookie deal, he's making less than $4 million per year, which is significantly less than he should be making if he was fully healthy. Obviously, when you're sitting at home, you really aren't earning any of your money. But when he is playing for a full season, $4 million is not enough for him. We're hoping that he doesn't want to get back at us and make sure that we overpay now to make up for the fact that he played over what his contract was originally worth. But we have to remember that open market value of $20 million, while that may be a big, scary number, we have to remember that is on the open market when there is a bidding war. AVT has plenty of reasons, like any free agent, has reasons to re-sign with the same team that he's on because he's already familiar with the system, he's familiar with the people, he's familiar with the place. If a player like that has a family, which AVT is pretty young, so I don't think he does, but don't quote me on that.
He does.
That you can factor into their decision to give the team that drafted him a little bit of a discount. $20 million, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm not saying that they definitely shouldn't pay him, but that is expensive to me. And if we signed him to $20 million over 4 or 5 years, I would look at that and I would be excited, but I would say I don't think we got the best value that we could at our right guard here. Because if we look at this offseason, Joe Thuney, last season was his third season in a row of being an All-Pro. He has 2024 and 2023, he was a first-team All-Pro, and then 2022, he was a second-team All-Pro. So getting even better, even though he is 33 years old, but a two-time first-team All-Pro, one-time second-team All-Pro. He's only making $17.5 million from the Chicago Bears. So looking at that contract doesn't make me super excited to pay Alijah Vera-Tucker $20 million per year, especially when he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy.
No, I understand. I'm not disagreeing. It's more the fact of I just want to see this offensive line and see what they could do. I understand if they do want to wait, but at the same time, I don't want them to end up losing AVT, because then you find yourself back in a situation where you have to try to hopefully you can convince Josh Myers to stick around, depending on whether he starts at center or doesn't, and then also convince one of him or Tippmann to move to guard, which could also solve the problem. But like, it could make things more complicated and more difficult if you don't. And I get there's a lot of money involved, but right now, if your franchise quarterback isn't Justin Fields, which neither of us are truly going to believe in, we're about to talk about Justin Fields in a second, but if it's not, then you're going to have a quarterback on a rookie scale deal for 4 years, 5 years.
So if you do, hopefully 5 years, but no, you're right. It would be 4 years with that 5th year option. Yeah. Hopefully he would be on that year for 5 years should we draft a quarterback, but it unfortunately hasn't worked out like that recently. But for an Alijah Vera-Tucker contract, if we are worried about his ability to stay healthy, one thing the Jets can do is negotiate less guarantees in that contract, where it gives them cap flexibility down the road and would give them the ability to cut him later if he does prove to not be able to stay healthy. So maybe they can, give into his demands a little bit by giving him a higher base salary. But if he isn't healthy, they would be able to cut him or take away bonuses, or they could build in bonuses where like you have to start for 15 games and then you get an extra $1 million or something like that to build in really benefits for both teams. Because if you are an offensive, or if you're a football player in the NFL, you understand that it's risky to go out and risk your body, and you want to make sure you're getting paid to take that risk. But at the same time, if you are sitting home injured, you are not giving any value to the team that's paying you. And, I'm basically going on an extra long-winded answer to say NFL teams, when they're paying a player, they want them to stay healthy.
Want to know who else we want to stay healthy? Justin Fields. And Justin Fields is doing a lot for his health. Sorry, I did bite my tongue right there. That's why I kind of mumbled that. Also yawned at the same time. It wasn't the greatest moment of my life.
I was going to say that sounded like a perfect transition to me.
I bit my tongue as I started yawning. It wasn't ideal. But look, what is ideal is Justin Fields prioritizing his health, and he's doing that in a way that personally, Matt, as you know, I love. Because it was mentioned by Sports Illustrated that Justin Fields, New York Jets quarterback, says he's followed a vegan/pescatarian diet relying on beans, rice, oats, sweet potatoes, protein shakes, and vegan versions of chicken nuggets and burgers. Justin Fields trying a new thing to prioritize his health. Now, we've seen this sort of happen over the last 10 or so years now with professional athletes, that they move to more plant-based diets, whether that's being a pescatarian, whether that's being a vegetarian, a vegan. And I mean, I just got to say, let's go! Another one joins the team! I'm not a vegan, I'm a pescatarian. I need to make it very clear here that I am a pescatarian. I do eat fish sometimes, but, vegetarian gang grows.
I was confused with what you were going for there.
No,
but
my team grows.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. People are changing to, I'm going to go ahead and pretty much call it the Tom Brady diet. I understand it's not
the Chris Gallagher diet. It's mine.
Yeah.
Since I was 0 years old, baby.
Yeah. So,
no meat.
Tom Brady started this, this type of food, eating that, and then Caleb Williams has adopted it, and now Justin Fields is adopting it, and he is, looking to be, I guess, even more athletic, which I really didn't think was going to be possible, because if you were watching him on the field, he is one of the most dynamic athletes and best runners of the football that the entire league has, not just at the quarterback position. If he was a running back, if he was a wide receiver, any football player who puts the ball in his hands, Justin Fields on any day can outrun that player, because Justin Fields is just that talented when he has the ball in his hands. So he could be even scarier switching over to this new diet.
Absolutely. I mean, you see me, and I'm such a prime specimen of athleticism. So
yeah, what was your 40 time?
If I were to run a 40-yard dash right now, I could probably do it in a good 28 seconds.
I think your knee would probably explode again.
My knee might, if I was running on turf,
you might never finish it.
There's a good chance that my left kneecap does decide to go to the inside of my leg again, and that would be a really fun time like it was last time around. But you live and you learn, you survive. I came back came back to the basketball courts at the Bobby V Center and still did my thing, put up my 2 points and 6 assists as I do. Because, guys, I'm obviously such a tremendous athlete. It's why I sit in this comfy chair and talk about other athletes. But hey, Matt's actually good at lacrosse. I'm not actually good at sports. Matt's actually good at lacrosse in all seriousness, so he's got that going for him. But we have Justin Fields going for us. This video is running very long, so very quickly. I mean, do I think this is going to change much in all seriousness? No. I think it's cool because as someone who doesn't eat meat, I like when a professional athlete joins the squad. I would love to see Justin Fields play well. Also being on a 2-year contract, it makes you wonder how much the Jets believe in him. And who knows? He does, in a very serious note, Justin Fields genuinely seems like he's taking this season more seriously than he's ever taken football. And he always has taken football very seriously. Yeah,
no, just like you said, his, switching over to a die like this is going to affect him athletically, but also the athletics and the talent was never the problem. It was always, mental stuff that he had to work on the football field. So
maybe it'll work.
Let's see how it works out. We got preseason coming up in like 4 weeks, I guess. A little bit less than a month, I think. So let's do it.
We're closing in, everybody. Guys, we're also closing out of this video. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. The girl I asked to prom in college football 26 did say no to me. The girl who Matt asked did say yes, or homecoming, whatever, but Matt jumped off a balcony. I just went with my boys. Apparently that made my confidence worse, but I don't see how. We got to ride for the dogs. That's what we do on Jets Digest. It's a no girls allowed zone. That's not true. Guys, have a great day and go Jets.